But before we just carry on, is this all okay for you? Because there's a lot of sharing, a lot of stuff going on. So is it too busy for you? Because you're now doing 3 classes today.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh,
It's fine. Once in a week, I can survive that. I had to cancel my Saturday's Agosti, of course, because if not, it will be 4, and you have no more Swami Padmanabha. So yeah, no, but it's fine. 3 is okay. Thank you. Gurave Gurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah. So, good morning to all of you. Welcome. And today we have our 4th morning meeting. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, we are planning to hopefully delve into the 4th of 7 last chapters of Radical Personalism. And the topic of today will be issues and tissues between guru and disciple. So I hope you brought your tissues to the conversation. No paper and pen, but tissues just in case. Actually, yes, I told in my book, when I say tissues, I was thinking about layers. But everyone understood the other ones. So they expected tragedy and pandemonium just going to the chapter. I was like, no, I meant just like different layers of the relationship. But anyhow, it at the same time applied that the 2 tissues are applicable, no problem. So, but before going there, brief recap of what we saw yesterday morning, which was the theme yesterday morning. Non-dual thinking, non-duality. Yeah. So we were talking about how the Bhagavatam itself describes reality as non-dual consciousness, and how our tradition is one of non-duality in its own unique way. Because sometimes we confuse non-duality with just impersonalism. So we have nothing to do with non-duality. And many times by over-rejecting non-duality, we end up becoming dualists ourselves. And dividing and fragmenting and even being polytheistic in terms of, instead of understanding all these forms of God that we have in our tradition as one, we just think, okay, Vamanadev, Kurma, Parasuram, they're all different guys. And they're the same non-dual person expressing in different ways. So we try to emphasize non-duality mostly from the place of interconnectedness, and how there are not 2 realities. So there's only one reality, which is self-contained, and all these different elements of reality, we being one of them. No, Maya, Shakti, material energy, the souls, Bhakti, all of that is connected to the energetic source, to Bhagavan. So the notion of non-duality can give lots of grounding for interconnectedness, sharing a common center, relationality. We talked a lot about how if everything shares a common center, everything is in relationship, whether we are aware of that or not, but everything exists in relationship with everything else. So that idea in itself has lots of potential for healing, for peace in the world, in our relationships. And we even talked about reality as an ongoing dialogue. Because if everything is connected with everything else, because everything is somehow talking to everything else, there's an ongoing conversation going on in every direction of reality. And of course, then we contrast it with the opposite of that. When we are not aware of this underlying unity, we develop this separateness, this isolation, fragmentation of reality, when we see everything and everyone like separated parts, isolated units, instead of part of an integrated whole. So we talked about separateness as our original sin, so to say, although I know that term may trigger in itself lots of trauma, so I was just mentioning it in joke in one sense, because we were talking also about sin as, remember, like the very word sin means missing the mark. So sin is missed potential. So we have a potential for bondedness, and when we miss the mark of that, we end up doing the most horrible things. But those most horrible things are just our failure to bond. Because in the deepest part, we are already bonded, sambandha, we are already connected. So we would naturally need to express that bondedness and connectedness. But when we are not properly aware of all this, we just miss the mark so much that it takes the form of the worst possible things. But that's even that is our failure to bond for bonding. So I think it's healthy to see those situations from that light, with understanding, with compassion, and from the bigger picture. So yeah, like we gave the example, Bhaktirat helped us with the paper. Remember the folding of the paper and how when we pierce it and we open it, since all these holes are different paper, but when you unfold it, it's like, oh, all of them are, there's one center, not many centers. Mm. And we did some exercises as well. Remember we did the circle, relational circle, started by Jogamaya and her dream. And the whole theme continued. Each one of us spoke about something related to the previous one and how our stories are interwoven, so to say. And then our last second part of the conversation was, given that foundations and that non-dual foundation of interconnectedness, we are invited to relate to other traditions and spiritual schools with not only openness but willingness to learn and be nourished and even rediscover our own tradition by the grace of other traditions. I like to call it theological cross pollination, and the cross pollination, taking something, bringing, taking something. And so we shared some examples from our school, Mahaprabhu, the Goswamis, how they will interact with other, literally, traditions, religions, and quote them, be nourished by them. Gopakumar in his journey and acquiring different impressions from different practitioners and taking all that with him to the ultimate goal. And then we concluded with the second exercise that you did throughout the day on Lectio Divina. Remember, since we are appreciating other traditions, this method of divine reading that they have in Christianity, contemplative reading. We shared a quote of Richard Rohr about dualistic thinking, and we invited you to share. Did that go well?
Yes. It was amazing.
Okay, great. So that's it. Today we are going to a related topic. We have talked so far about vulnerability and empowerment. Day 1, individuation. Day 2, non-dual thinking. Yesterday, day 3. Somehow we have shown how one topic can lead us to the other, hopefully in a very natural way. So now we are moving to the guru-disciple relationship. If you need that I use another word than guru, I can do it. Again, words can trigger stuff. Mentor, student. It's a natural pattern. Like a natural pattern in reality. So let's discern internally when we hear these words and understand them in the healthiest possible way. So now we are turning to this template, guru-disciple relationship, which is the scenario where ideally all of the things we have talked about so far will express themselves. Vulnerability. Ideally, both guru and disciple have to be vulnerable to each other and share from a very intimate place, and there will be mutual empowerment. Ideally, individuation will be there. There will be an encouragement to become all that we can be as students, as teachers. Again, it's always reciprocal. And non-duality as well. There will be a teaching of the interconnectedness and the bondedness. Because again, in principle, we are all bonded with one another, but if nobody, makes me feel like that, it's difficult to believe it. So in a relationship like guru and disciple, ideally, this is one of the most beautiful, in potential beautiful places for that to experience a bond and a connection and intimacy and affection. And we are all together with Krishna in the center. Although sometimes with that beautiful potential, that relationship, if that's not properly addressed, whether from the side of the guru or the disciple, the exact opposite can happen. We have seen scenarios of abuse and trauma and dysfunction. So we also don't want to, be extremely naive and lose sight of that, but also we don't want to become extremely cynical and dismiss the whole thing altogether. So hopefully we can find some middle point and we can appreciate the beauty and the glory of that unique bond and relationship without losing sight of the potential pitfalls, and being properly informed to navigate that, whether as disciples, students, or also as gurus. In terms that maybe you say, Maharaj, I don't have disciples. Yeah, I get the point, but You are a guru in so many ways for people, as a father, as a mother, as a mentor, as an elder, as a point of reference of any level. That means guru. Guru is not just the one given diksha. In our tradition, we have a whole spectrum of gurus. Since you are born, mother and father are gurus, are supposed to be gurus, and so on. No? Elders in the family and in school, and you learn something. Music, he's your guru, music guru, and then you have your diksha guru in spiritual. But there's a whole like constellation of gurus in a healthy uh, cosmovision. The idea is that from since the moment I'm born, I'm surrounded by gurus. So that makes it more easy to understand. Oh, ultimately, I will enter into a land of gurus. That's how Srila Siddhar Maharaj will express the official entrance into the spiritual world, so to say. You are have entered into a land of gurus where everything is your guru. Everything is pointing you into their brightest possible prospect, even a speck of dust. And again, that's already happening, but we have to pay attention to that. So, so yesterday we talked about non-duality. We already explained in which sense non-duality can relate to the guru. Also, we could add to that. For example, each genuine guru somehow is the representative of the non-dual God, and in one sense, as we said the other day, in one sense, guru is one. There is a diversity of agents, but they are all representing the one single agency, which is one, which is Krishna and His will. Mm-hmm. And this is an important point that I may start with that now, because many times we lose sight of this. We lose sight of the universal side of guru, and we overemphasize the localized human expression of it, which is fine, but over localized, that's not fine. So that's one of the main, I wouldn't say tricky, but complex aspects to deal with in Guru Tattva. Sometimes many acharya have said Guru Tattva is the most complex tattva of all. That's no small thing. There are lots of tattvas: Krishna Tattva, Gaur Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Maya Tattva, Tattva. Guru Tattva, they say, is arguably one of the most complex ones. And so, as I mentioned in the book, if Guru Tattva is one of the most difficult tattvas to understand, that means Guru Tattva is one of the easiest tattvas to misunderstand. Let's put it that way. Someone is very difficult to understand, probably it lends itself for easy misunderstanding. And from that foundation of misunderstanding can be so much damage and abuse and confusion without bad intention, but on the basis of misunderstanding. So today I like to concentrate on two possibilities of this misunderstanding. There's a whole chapter, of course, one of the longest chapters of the book, but I'll try to point two of them while including most of the main topics of the book. So one, as I mentioned, is to limit Guru Tattva to one particular human being and lose sight the universality of the principle of Guru. So we'll start with that. But the second one, just briefly mentioned, which is somehow connected, is in connection to the individual human being guru, to over-idealize that person, to over-glorify, to over-expect from the guru, and also vice versa. The guru can also over-idealize and over-expect from the disciple. So we can create a whole relationship based of over-expectations. So we will go there in a moment. So let's begin with the first one again. Guru, as we talked, I think yesterday, Guru, in one sense, Guru is one. No? There are not many gurus. Guru is one. As Krishna is one and expresses himself in these different forms, Guru is one, and through different agents, the reality of Guru is expressed in particular ways, but the agency is one. The representatives of the agency, the agents are different, but the agency is one. Krishna is the first in our Guru Parampara. Right? You have our Guru Parampara starts with Krishna, Although the other day in Radhastami we were making the case that we need to change the list, because before Krishna, Srimati Radharani has to come. No? Krishna says that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Amishishya Guru, Amishishya Radhikar Prema Guru, Amishishya Nata. Sri Radha, the Prem of Sri Radha is my Guru, and I'm his student in her dancing school. And her Prem makes me dance very wonderful dances. But that's more confidence, so that doesn't come in the official list. That's in the unofficial list in between the lines. Our parampara starts with that, no? Radha, Krishna. Guru, then disciple. Anyhow, taking the official list, Krishna comes first. And Krishna is described in the Bhagavad and in Shastras, Jagat Guru. No? Param Guru Guru. The Bhagavatam say Krishna is the supreme Guru of all Gurus. He's the Guru of the universe. So, and Krishna is everywhere. No, that's an interesting point. Sorry? Please, no problem. This is an interesting point, no? Because again, we are talking about the over-localization of a guru and losing sight of its universality. So the first guru is Krishna. Krishna is guru. Krishna is omnipresent, right? There is not a place where Krishna is not. So you follow the formula, as I said yesterday. If Krishna is guru and Krishna is omnipresent, then guru is omnipresent. There is not a place where guru tattva is not. So technically speaking, I'm just taking to the extreme of guru is only localized in this particular person to there's not a place where guru is not. Of course, as we said, who has the capacity to find guru in every atom? Mostly not all of us. So we need a particular agent to instruct us and teach us in that direction. So we practice in a certain way that leads us to an experience, to a realization, to a vision. Like Mahaprabhu will see the blade of grass, see Guru, Trinada Pistanichina. We'll see the tree, Tarora Pisahishno. Just every direction he looked, he could make another line of the Sikshastaka. I'm finding Guru everywhere. So this universal presence of Guru, we call it Samasti, Guru Tattva. Now we have Samasti and Vyasti. Vyasti is the individual human agent. Samasti is the omnipresent, universal principle of Guru, available everywhere at every moment, because Krishna is that principle. So going to the to the Vyasti, to the individual agent, what can we say about that? Again, the word is agent versus agency. So we could say the Samasti Guru Tattva is the agency of the Guru, embodied by Krishna, present at every part. The Vyasti is the agent that represents the agency. So as long as I represent the agency, I'm, so to say, bona fide. That's another triggering word, right? Bona fide. Anyhow. Genuine, maybe it makes even things even worse. I don't know. So as long as one represents the agency, one is an agent. No? There may be degrees of representation. It's not just black and white, let's be honest. So it's important that we develop some gray understanding, not black and white understanding of Guru Tattva. Because again, Guru Tattva is very, very gray in itself. Again, Guru is not just one person, it's everywhere, but also, so it's not like it's this or it's that. Like we were joking yesterday, even the Bhagavatam will say in one verse, at sometimes you have to be your own guru. So imagine someone asks you, who is your guru? And you say, me. And then you call the Bhagavatam to support your. Don't try it, it may be too much. But there is a place to make that point. So that shows how much Guru Tattva can be really nuanced and not just like in this box. No? That said, no, as I mentioned there, in case of the human representative, there are degrees of representation. And when the scriptures generally speak about guru, they take for granted that the guru they are talking about is a fully qualified representative. And on that basis, they will say one is expected to open your heart and give yourself in that direction. But the scripture take for granted we are talking about someone qualifying the highest possible level, and the scriptures take for granted that the reader is understanding that. Right? Which sometimes we need that clarification, because we read that and we are not taking that for granted. We think, okay, whomever is guru, I have to give myself completely. And then you even demand that. Sometimes I've seen that, demanding that from the student or expecting that, because no, the scriptures say you have. But when the scriptures say guru, they are speaking and thinking of the, assuming that the guru is in the highest possible position to perform that. Like when the scriptures say, I don't know, sadhu sangha sarva shastra kai lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi. For one moment of sadhu sangha, you attain all perfection. Now you can think, which type of sadhu sangha is the scripture talking about? I mean, again, when the scripture says sadhu sangha, scripture think about sadhu sangha proper. No, you follow my. They're speak from an, they say, idealistic point of view. They don't think half-baked sadhu sangha, so to say, 35.3% sadhu sangha. They are thinking always from the ideal perspective. 108% sadhu sangha. That's the result. No? If you chant, sometimes the scripture says, you chant half a syllable of the name of Krishna, you are done, gone. Again, which half a syllable is the scripture thinking? No? When the scripture says holy name, they refer the holy name with capital letter, no namapara, nambasa, or stuff. No? So we have to understand from which perspective revelation is coming, no? Because if not, you take that and it's like, but I'm chanting so much more than half a syllable for decades, and but what's my idea of that? What's their idea of that? And the same with guru. So scriptures speak about guru, they have in mind an ideal guru, like the example that we also share in the book of, if you go to an encyclopedia and look for what's an apple, the encyclopedia will describe an ideal apple. No, it won't describe a rotten apple, half mature. No, it will be a red one, brown, without worms, without worms in the stool. That's an apple, right? It takes for granted, assume this is the ideal version of it. Then we can talk about all the distorted reflections of an apple. So in the same way, the scripture, when they say guru, they give the full apple version, so to say, no? And from that we have to infer, whenever whenever something does not concur with the ideal guru, these statements, the scriptures say you have to surrender completely to a guru. Okay, but if a guru doesn't behave as the ideal guru that the scripture is talking about, I shouldn't give myself completely to that. No, we have to exercise that discernment. No? And if we were not able to read that, understand that from Shastra, then a guru is supposed to give that understanding. It's the responsibility of the guru to make sure that the disciple doesn't become a fanatic or a blind follower. No, to protect his or her, just in case, own situation as guru. No? If I'm a guru, I want the disciples to not follow me for the wrong reasons, not to be blind follower, not to be fanatic, not to follow my point. So as a way of protecting both in their relationship, all the things have to be clarified to safeguard the integrity of the relationship. So I like to say the guru is not the owner of the disciple. No? The guru, I mean, the disciple may feel naturally, I belong to my Gurudev, but the guru shouldn't feel, no, you are mine. No? You are my property, my product. I'm your master. No? The guru should feel I'm a servant of my disciple. As a disciple feels I'm a servant of my. It's a mutual reciprocity of service from different places of the relationship, but like a father son in a different context. Each one should be contributing to the relationship from their unique place. So the guru has to be a servant of an assistant on the journey of the disciple, a servant of the disciples, the students' potential. Srila Siddhartha Maharaj will beautifully say that. I always have to say that whenever I'm talking about this topic. He will say the guru is our own potential appearing in front of us. That's very interesting. Our own potential. We talked about potential these days, all that we can be, all that we can become. So that's embodied ideally in the figure of the guru. And when I say guru, remember, I'm not limiting it to the Diksha guru. To Srila will say your most important guru is the one who's helping you the most. Someone asked him once, like, who's more important, Diksha, Siksha? He said, the one who's helping you the most. That's it. And again, remember, all these gurus are collaborating in the service of the one guru. So it's not like a fragmented thing. Remember, keep the non-dual picture in mind. It's a joint teamwork, ideally. Mm. So Srila Samaraj will say the guru is your own potential appearing in front of you. All that you can be appears embodied in front of you and showing you your brightest prospect. So that's beautiful. That gives lots of hope. Also, that can be overwhelming in the sense that imagine if you have in front of you someone who is showing you all that you can be on a moment after moment after moment after, and I'm not yet there. So the only way that we can survive such a thing is if that person is showing you all that you can be, but also generously and loving you, assisting you to become all that, and be patient with you and assist you and come. So it's like, okay, no, that's survivable, right? And in that sense, I say the guru is not only your own potential appearing in front of you, but a servant of your own potential. He's serving all that you can be, and he's assisting so you can become that. So a guru is a servant of potential. Let's put it that way. And a servant of the ideal of divine love. Both guru and student, teacher and student are both of them serving the same ideal, divine love, how to nourish divine love in us, in everyone else. And in that way, and I will say that's something that if someone is taking the position of a guru, and by guru, remember I'm referring to a teacher, a mentor, an elder. Doesn't mean you start giving diksha to someone. uh, a, a way that you can deal with that situation with sobriety is that you consider yourself first and foremost a student, a learner. And that's in our own tradition. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, you have this main example, as I like to quote always. The main guru disciple template in the Bhagavatam is Sukadev Goswami and Pariksit Maharaj. And when Sukadev Goswami is speaking to Pariksit Maharaj, who is there in the audience, among other people, Sukadev Goswami's guru, Vyasadeva. And who else is there? Vyasadev's guru, Narad Muni. No? So the student is giving the lecture, and his teacher and his teacher's teachers, both of them are wrapped in ecstasy listening. No, they are not thinking, get down from the Vyasas and here came the senior devotee. I will give the class now. No, I don't have anything to learn from you. You have to listen to me. No. Again, genuine teacher will be humbled whenever a genuine current of divine truth is coming, and will be humbled and humbling himself by that. No matter if it's my own disciple, if it's my child, my guru, my parang guru, the dog. I mean, again, Guru Tattva is everywhere. Don't forget that one. Don't lose sight of that one. And that's in the Bhagavatam. Again, that's a lesson of the Bhagavatam showing Vyasadeva is kind of the prototype of the guru figure. When we celebrate Guru Purnima once in a year, that's actually the birthday of Vyasadeva. That's Vyasa Purnima. So you see how much Vyasa and Guru are conflated. And that's the example that Vyasadeva is given. He's going and listening the Bhagavatam class from his disciple. And he's going with his own Guru. He's calling Narad saying, you know who will give tomorrow's morning Bhagavatam class? Who? My disciple Sukadeva. Let's come, Gurudev. Let's hear from him. That will be very interesting. And Narad will say, yes, let's go. No? That's about it. I'm not making that out. That's there. Maybe we don't see it, but that's there. So the Bhagavatam is setting the tone for how a guru should. I'm not saying that always the guru have to, okay, you give the class, my disciple, but there has to be a willingness and an openness for that whenever that's natural and obvious. Because as we mentioned here also, the more you advance, the greater capacity to learn you have. So if a guru is more advanced than the disciple, as it should be, in one way at least, some ways, means the guru has more capacity to learn from the disciple than the disciple from the guru. Follow my point? The more you advance, the more capacity to learn you have. So even if you are the teacher giving the lesson, still you are learning. You have more capacity to learn. So arguably, many guru-disciple relationships, the guru is learning more from the disciple than vice versa. Which is fine. It's not a problem, just in case. And I would say part of that learning is how how the guru, how to say, how the guru is listening or observing how Krishna is revealing himself through the disciple or to the disciple. A guru is not so much ideally someone who tells the disciple what to do, although there may be time for that in the kindergarten chapter of the disciple, like do this, don't think, do, boom, end of the story. But at some point, the relationship should mature in a way that the guru is not so much like telling what to do by hearing guru along with the disciple listening together what Krishna wants you to do. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's pay attention. Let's see how God wants to manifest in your life. And the guru is assisting the disciple in that listening, not so much, oh, this is what you have to do. No? So that's something important. Can I read one section? I will read. There will be a little reading today, with your permission, or without it. You know already that one. So it says like this. Which page it is? Okay. Yeah. In this connection, in how guru and disciple learn from each other, it says like this. Okay. Guru and disciple learn from each other and therefore need each other. Therefore, the ideal guru-disciple relationship is not so much a hierarchical, monarchical, or pyramidal relationship, but the result of a circular collaboration, where the sharing and nourishing are always mutual and never unidirectional, flowing in every possible direction. So, again, it's more like a teamwork. Guru and disciple, teacher and student, they are serving the same idea. They are students forever. They are opening to learn always. Although there is a hierarchy in a healthy way, like father son. That's a hierarchy, but at the same time there is deep intimacy and friendship. And again, one needs each other in a healthy way. No, we are not talking here about codependent templates. No, there's one line from Srila Prabhupada, very beautiful, that he sent to one of his disciples. He says, in this connection, it's shocking. It's intensely shocking, beautiful, shocking. Fasten your seatbelt. He's saying, he's talking to a disciple. So he says, "You cannot survive without my mercy." That part already we made. Okay, yeah, I've heard that one. Now comes the shocking part. And I cannot survive without your mercy. So here, teacher is talking to the student. You cannot survive without my mercy. I cannot survive without your mercy. It is reciprocal. This mutual dependence is based on love. So that was Prabhupada writing to the disciple. You can imagine how the disciple felt reading that letter. Imagine your guru tell me I cannot survive without your mercy. It's humbling. No? You cannot become arrogant in a situation like that. It's the exact opposite. No? Coming from a natural heart. So that's the type of relationship. No, Rupa Goswami says, Vishram Bena Guru Seva. One has to serve the Guru with a type of intimate trust and friendship. That's the ideal mood, which is very connected to what Prabhupada just said here. No? Try to access that type of exchange with sweetness, with intimacy. The relation in the beginning, again, there may be a little bit more of kindergarten chapters, which is fine. We all need to go to kindergarten. We are babies. We all crawl. We all, how do you say, peep and all that on ourselves. And it's beautiful in its own way, as long as you have 1 year old. So in the same way, there is place for for needing or for having a relationship with your guru in a not so intimate dynamic friendship. That's where the relation should evolve in time. So, but Rupa Goswami makes that clear. Vishram Bena Guru Seva. Serve your guru with Vishramba. Vishramba is Sanskrit term for, again, intimate trust and confidence, a type of friendship. And of course, the guru has to allow that or to promote that. Even if in the beginning that there's no yet place for that, the guru should have a clear vision that this should evolve and converge in that point. So that's part of the qualification of the guru. The adhikar. Sometimes in the scripture we have adhikar. What's the adhikar? The eligibility of the spiritual master. And we'll say, yeah, of course, there are so many verses talking about knowledge of the scriptures to provide guidance, practice, realization of the knowledge, not only theory, but insight. And the Srimad Bhagavatam also mentions one interesting word, which is upasamashrayam, which sometimes is translated as the Guru. Upasama ashraya. Ashraya means shelter, and upasama means tranquility. So Sanskrit works interestingly. It says the Guru should have taken shelter in tranquility, which generally is translated as the Guru should have his or her senses under control. Controlled senses, sense control. We talked the other day. Remember what I say regarding sense control?
You said, well, I mean, you said a few things, but you said that it's by absorption in love of Krishna or devotion that the senses are naturally controlled because Prabhupada say higher taste.
Thank you.
Take in Krishna and the rest falls away.
Thank you. But I was not pointing to that one, which is it's totally valid, totally accurate. But I'm wanting other answer. Of course, we have been talking a lot, so I won't torture you with what did I say. But we say that also another way of saying sense control or an implication of sense control will be to have a balanced humanity. Why? Because one of the aspects, sense control, the mind is the sixth sense. In the mind, emotions happen. So to have a healthy emotional life, psychological life, to have your humanity integrated, that's what it's meant by this idea of upashamashrayam, which is one of the necessary qualifications of the guru, I will say. So you have to be qualified on a spiritual level, knowledge, realization, practice, etc. But also you have to be a wholesome human being, at least on some level. I'm not saying absolutely perfect in everything, but on some level, because you are interacting with another people's humanity. So if you are not human enough, the combination may be complicated. So, and we as disciples or as prospective students, we also should be how to say, we also should know what to look for in the guru. It's not all up to the guru to embody perfect stuff, but also from our place, why do we want to guru? Why do I want to be this? What I'm looking, am I projecting? We will go there in a minute. But in one sense, one should be, as a student, as sincere as possible, but also sometimes as students, we are naive and we are very young and we are over-idealizing and we come with our own unresolved stuff to the guru. So part of the role of the guru is to be aware of that. No? I may having lots of people coming which are coming for the wrong reasons with good intention, but with stuff that they cannot see. So part of the role of the guru is to make sure that the disciple is looking for the guru for the right reasons. You follow my point? Part of the responsibility of a teacher is when a student comes to make sure the person is coming from the right reason. If it's not the most healthy reasons, at least to understand that and gradually provide those healthy reasons so the relationship becomes healthy, because it can be, if not, it's dangerous for both. Anyhow, a few initial thoughts, and we will go now to our first exercise. Some exercise we are doing, exercises in between. So we'll do one in connection to this idea of the guru as a facilitator of potential. We won't need paper and pen this time, just in case. But the idea is, as we were talking, the guru is a facilitator of potential. The guru is someone who is, and again, by guru, remember, you also are guru in one way or another. You are also elder, you are also a role model to someone. And if you are not yet, well, you will be, you have to. And that's how life works. So we were talking about this, that the guru is not just telling what to do, but listening and accompanying the student in finding the answers, in hearing what Krishna wants from us. So what's the exercise about? 2, 4, 3. Okay. So we can do it in pairs. I will select some pairs now. The idea is that one will play the role of a disciple, so to say. We will take turns, of course. And you will go to some places we cannot do it all in the room. So one play the role of the disciple for a few minutes, who is seeking guidance on one personal issue. So you can bring the issue and unfold it. And the other plays the role of the guru or the teacher. But the teacher, instead of giving direct answers, again, on what to do, the guru will listen and will ask questions, mostly, to facilitate the disciple's own discovery. You follow my point? So we will do that for a few minutes, and after a few minutes we switch roles, and the one who was the disciple becomes the guru, and vice versa. So we can do it like maximum for 10 minutes, so you can keep some count, so whenever you reach your 5 minutes you can switch back. It's clear the top, which is a good exercise, because sometimes we may feel we may discover how much of a tendency we have to tell people what to do and to preach to them and to just give conclusive advice instead of listening, receiving, just suggesting questions and allowing the other person to reach the answer for themselves, so to say. So it's a good, healthy exercise. So we'll select the pairs. 1 sec. Okay, here we are back. Was it good exercise? Interesting dynamics? Huh?
I initiated him.
Okay.
I only do it because everyone else is doing it.
Who's your guru? There's quite a few initiations going on.
Okay. Have a few new paramparas going on. Okay, so we have concluded the first part of our gathering. We will continue a little bit more. Remember, first we talked about, we'll address the guru principle and its universality, and then the localized agent as a servant of potential, mostly from the positive like perspective. Now we'll go a little bit to the shadow side, in the sense of the potential negativity if we are not able to deal properly with some of these situations. So let's go to the over-idealization, the over-expectation that sometimes can happen in relationship, guru-disciple. And as I also like to say, if you over-idealize someone, you are dehumanizing that person. No? Although it sounds like praise, it sounds like I'm putting over there, but I'm not allowing you to be a human. I'm dehumanizing you. So that's not very becoming, desirable. And if we allow that, it may entail both dehumanization in both directions, actually. So in one sense, of course, we can say there's no limit to how much we can praise Guru, the principle of Guru and genuine guide. There's no limit to how much we can, how many ki jais we can say. But at the same time, there is place for over glorification. In one sense, you can never glorify a Guru enough, but you can over glorify, like glorify outside of the proper boundaries and perimeter of proper healthy praise, basically. And that's considered an insult. Interestingly, Srila Prabhupada says that, I'm quoting here. I'd like to read that. It's a brief, it's from the purport of in the Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto. He says something very interesting. He says, if a man who does not factually possess the attributes of a great personality engages his followers in praising him with the expectation that such attributes will develop in the future, that sort of praise is actually an insult. So, over-idealization is an insult, basically. Although sometimes, again, it's masked as faith, strong faith. No? So, do you have any thoughts, ideas on examples of over-idealizing? How can we end up over-idealizing? In this case, the Guru. We can over-idealize anything and everyone, but we are talking in this template. Any thoughts or, yeah, Sam?
Well, it's more like we can put people on like a pedestal in our minds
Mm-hmm.
and over-idealize them in our minds.
Yeah.
And then when that person in reality behaves outside of that
Mm-hmm.
construct,
Mm-hmm.
then that idealization of our mind, it falls down.
Yeah.
Unless we acknowledge in ourselves that that our construct is broken apart.
Yeah.
We can look at that person and think, oh, they've disappointed me, or they've let me down, or we can, because we're superimposing that onto them.
Mm-hmm.
Like a
Rambaktiras. Yeah. Thank you. Or sometimes what can happen, right, is like you over idealize someone and something starts to show clearly that it's not up to that standard, but you somehow justify whatever is going on to keep the standard, and it all is it's a lila. No, you're being tested. Like the other day, we were talking in Belgium with some devotees. They were quoting one of Prabhupada's disciples, who was one of the 11 gurus, and at one point he was having some problem with alcohol. And he will go to his disciples in a very nice way, in the sense of, hey, I'm having this problem. No, I want to share this with you. And all the disciples like, oh, Gurudev's like Nityananda now. He's drinking alcohol. He's drunk in ecstasy. And he was like, no, I'm having a problem with alcohol, and I'm telling you, help me. You're so humble. Yeah. Jai Nitai, Abadut, Gurudev is Abadut. And then he will go to his god brothers, and they will tell him, no, you cannot show this. You have to continue. You have to remain perfect. Again, there was no bad intention in anyone involved, but there was this misunderstanding of how to deal with limitation and imperfection and keep the over-idealization going, not keep the show running, so to say. And we know which was the result of that pushing, right? What else? Any forms that you think you can over-idealize someone? Yes.
Treating the guru like almost a guru robot.
Mm-hmm.
They have all of these amazing qualities, and you can just dump on them as much as you want.
Yeah.
Because they are floating above the material plane.
Mm-hmm.
So all is good. I can just offload without considering the guru in any way, any emotional way, in any human way.
Okay. Yeah. Dehumanization again, right? Yeah.
That they can do what they want to do without exception, and it's behaving.
Because the Shastra says that Guru, you have to surrender fully, and then what else?
I feel that in some ways Srila Prabhupada has been over-glorified in the sense that he's Superman. And now I'm trying to learn to understand his humanity also, because then I feel I'm more able to have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And a god brother a couple of years ago sent me a quote from a letter, and the Prabhupada said how much he loved his daughters.
Yeah.
And I just started to cry because I had no idea that he felt like that.
He loves people also.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And he loves me.
He loves you.
And so that helped me begin to be more connected in a real way. I can approach him, and he's not so far up here that he's unrelatable to.
Yeah. Thank you. So we say, no, the more we push on this over-idealization, the farther we push the other person, the more distance we become, the more cold, superficial the relationship is. And
just a classic example would
Yeah.
be Jesus. Would be Jesus, how they've over-glorified Jesus as this supernatural person.
Yeah.
In the case of Srila Prabhupada, because in a way that sort of becomes the template that everyone else tried to follow in one shape or another. By over-idealizing him, then the more rigid and black and white everything has to become, because there's just this fear of changing anything, or this fear of like it being a living, breathing thing that is sort of you interpret or experience. It's just like fixed.
Yeah.
And I think it just becomes so unhelpful.
Yeah. And unnatural, as we were saying last night about the ever-evolving nature of things. And if you want to keep something always the same, that's against nature. Things flow and need to change. No, but so it becomes suffocating to the point of suffocation.
This meeting that I was feeling as Robin was talking, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
I can't breathe.
Yeah. It's too much. Teresa?
We can over-idolize the guru and think that they can do all the work that I actually need to do.
Well, that's something I was planning to share in a few minutes. So that's very important point, because we can surrender as a way to the guru, as a way of not taking responsibility for ourselves. Also, no? And we can glorify and over-glorify the guru, but actually as a way of not having to think for myself, be myself, and surrender in an individuated way. No? Because many of us are still terrified about freedom. No? Your guru tells you, okay, you choose. Choose what? You tell me what to do. You tell me how. And again, there is a place for that in some stage. There is a place for the guru will ask you, so how would you like to serve Krishna? And you're like, what? Can I have my own liking? Yeah, why not? So yeah, that's a good point. Thank you.
I'm just going back to your the other day, the lecture you're talking about humanity and divinity. So it's trying to find the balance then between the humanity and the divinity.
Yeah.
I think is the key to that.
Yeah, because even if you tell, okay, the Gurudev is a pure devotee, he's already in the Leela, okay, but the Leela is, we say already, Nara Leela. Nara Leela is fully human and fully divine. So you have to treat your Guru being fully divine and fully human also. So,
you don't make adjustments for time, place, and circumstance, and everything just gets frozen in time because you think if you do anything any differently than it was ever done, that it's somehow not loyal, not following properly. Yeah.
Many times the fear is like, if one asks, well, but if Srila Prabhupada will be here today, will he make changes? And someone say, yes, but we are not him. So since we don't know what he will say, let's not do anything. And it's like, no, that's not the way. It's like, okay, he's not here. We don't know exactly what he will say, but we are supposed to make those changes, and that's parampara. So as risky as that may be, it's less risky than not changing anything. That's risky. That's risky. Although it offers a sense of stability and solace and certainty. We are keeping the formula, so the risk is many things are at stake there. Many hands raising. It's like a wave of hands now. Since we touch upon some.
But just thinking on that line, it's also scary because to step out of the tradition and step out of that solidity that is there from institution, you've got to be vulnerable, and so it's scarce.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
But in one sense, I will add that won't be stepping out of the tradition.
Yes.
That's what the tradition is about.
No,
I get your point. I get just because we use the words, no? So actually, the tradition is dynamic transmission and unfolding. But yeah, thanks. I get the point. Yeah. Jiva, okay, you are the birthday boy to allow you all your answers.
I just remember in the I don't remember reading in the early days when some of the sannyasis started to spread a rumor that Srila Prabhupada was actually Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
And he stopped the whole thing.
He stopped the whole thing.
Yeah,
And he banished them for so many months or years or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was one point of that.
Yeah, over glorification. Gurudev is so great that he's Krishna himself. He's better than Krishna.
Yeah.
Krishna has nothing to do with him. No, it's untasty. It's not like, oh, my guru is so incredible that all the other gurus in the world are insignificant in comparison to him. That's not a way of glorifying a guru. You have to glorify the guru in a way that everyone else is glorified at the same time.
Yeah, my guru is the best guru.
Amar Guru, Jagat Guru. Yeah, my guru is a guru for the whole universe. So that's a challenge. It's an art. How to glorify someone in a way that everyone else is properly included, or nobody is excluded, at least in the glory. It's not done in an exclusivistic way. So it's clearly he is higher and everyone else is. That's not Vaishnava etiquette, basically, right? What else? Something.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And when you were just saying about it's fearful to step outside of what seems like the tradition, but I think maybe it's what the majority, like the bigger part of the group, are thinking.
Yes.
It's fearful because we naturally feel like the bigger part of the group, part of our brain thinks they must be right because there's more of them, and also what the price to pay is quite high because you often lose the sense of community, which everyone wants, and so it can be quite a lonely path to take. So I think then we sort of default back to what feels safer.
I know what that it means, but also I know what it means to lose community and to regain community in its own unique way. So that's also, thank you. Radha Priya.
The symptoms of overextending the platform of your guru becomes untouchable, and this has happened with many, that it actually separates the community because they're not able to speak about this or that regarding their guru. They're not able to trust each other. Nobody's can dare to say something about the guru in case they're pointed at being a vendor. And so actually the community, although physically is together, is not together as well.
Yeah, inner cohesiveness is not there, so to say, that's a big topic also. Not like, okay, you cannot say anything because that's aparat. You don't go there. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur says something very interesting. He says, provided one has the right motive, the scriptures have not condemned a careful analysis of someone's faults. Proper motive, of course, is of three types: desiring the welfare of the other person, desiring the welfare of the world, and desiring one's own welfare. So, as we say the other time, if you want to love someone, the love has to be in such a way that everyone else is also loved. So it's not that because I love you, I end up hating myself or treating myself in a dysfunctional way in my love to you. That's not love. Nature of love is it has to be loving in every other direction. So and criticism, healthy criticism can be a form of love also. It can be a way of showing a loving expression of concern. If I love you, no. One thing is seeing faults, another thing is finding faults. No. Fault finding is one thing, but fault seeing if it's there and it has to be seen and it has to be acknowledged in a loving concern, that's necessary. Or to speak of something bad.
It's interesting too. If you fault see,
Mm-hmm.
then you're told that you're fault finding.
Yeah, that's why I'm making the difference between the two, because we conflate these two and nobody can say anything. And of course, fault finding in connection to a Vaishnava amounts to aparad. And if you do aparad, you are an aparadi. And that's a deep branding that nobody wants to carry. Right? And it feels like it will stay with me for eternity. I will be banished from the Garden of Eden with this branding. So I don't want that. So what can you do to that? Don't say anything. 3 monkeys, and let this whole stuff continue going. But the scriptures say, Bhagavatam says, Charitamrita says, if you know there is something, some abuse, some mistake, and you don't say anything, you become part of that. That's in the Bhagavatam. If you know that something's not going well, you don't say, you just look in the other direction, you become accomplice to the crime, so to say.
So basically, everybody needs to take the responsibility of their wholeness and their truth to be able to be who you are in the community.
Yeah, everyone. Yes, I've opened a can of worms.
I think that the cancel culture type thing that we have at the moment. It's the difficulty. Part of the difficulty of people speaking out, or sometimes people speaking out a lot, is that there's a real dishonesty in the conversation, because people are sort of not like, we can find a person who has faults, and we can all together like maybe try and drag them down. Yet the people, including us, who are doing that are not being honest about that we probably have the same faults as well. Do you know what I mean? So there's a sort of like, it's almost like, oh my God, how could that person be such a terrible person?
No.
Whereas actually, like, most of us are not so different from that person. So it's sort of just everything is kind of dishonest. But partly because the society doesn't allow us to embrace our humanity and our fallible nature.
Thank you. That's a great point. Because especially the point that you mentioned, many times we end up criticizing others in a non-constructive way, because as a projection of our own stuff, but we are not able to acknowledge it's our own stuff, because that's not allowed. That's not seen as something valuable, like to be in touch with your brokenness. So I have canceled that venue, so it just can't go outside. And becomes projection without even me knowing that this projection is actually a denial of my own humanity. So because criticism, healthy criticism, so to say, is an art when not only I'm not projecting by repressing my own stuff, but I'm appreciating you. I'm seeing good stuff, not only the stuff that I'm pointing at. I'm seeing something good, and I'm valuing you, and I'm saying it with an intention of helping you. What's my intention in voicing? And as I like to mention also in my book, like, not only all those stages, but at the end, even if I dare to point something at you, I have to commit myself to accompany you on the journey of changing what I'm pointing. It's not like, hey, Rabbi, you have to change that. This is this. Good luck. It's like, no, I'm with you. I mean, you have to do your part, but I commit myself, since I open my mouth to say that. That's committing me and accompanying you in the journey. That for me is real loving observation. Because if all the things lacking, we can just, especially online, you have a keyboard and a screen. You feel I can say anything about everyone, but when we are face to face, how much we treat each other. Okay, the list is long. Lots of over-idealization, as we have seen. Lots of stuff coming from that. Guru is omniscient. That's another one. He knows anything and everything and every moment, and that's too much. That's not happening. The gurus are perfect in every sense, like the famous example Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is mispronouncing a word, and the words are, the dictionary should be changed because now Gurudev has revealed the actual way of pronouncing. And it's like too much, right? No, we have to just correct the mispronunciation in his service, right? Or I don't know, all gurus are Nitya Siddhas, all coming from Golok Vrinda. Even if you have no way of proving that. You don't have like how to say a Nitya Siddhaness detector, like Golok, Sadhana Siddha, Nitya Siddha, advanced Sadhaka. But sometimes we unconsciously have created this culture. Okay, every guru is coming from the spiritual world, which sometimes without bad intention is okay. It's for promoting faith, to develop faith and to have faith. Everyone is perfect. That doesn't nurture faith, because all my teachers, none of them, if they are all need to see this, none of them have gone through the journey that I need to go to reach that place. So I have no reference point because all of them are already perfect forever. So that's discouraging. I have no real role model. And when it seems, okay, I can relate to that seemingly relative. No, that's a lila. That's not happening actually. Don't be offensive. Don't relativize the gurus. Okay. So again, it may be without good intention, with good intention, but we end up over-idealizing in the name of nurturing faith, but we end up discouraging faith as a result of that if we are not aware of what's going on. And what to speak for the poor guru, so to say, if he or she is receiving a level of praise and even dedication that he or she is not able to handle. Because if you're a teacher, you have to also know your limits and how much can I handle. So we're talking today in breakfast, we had the appetizer of today's lecture. We're already warming up. How much you can process. I mean, you are receiving dedication for even one person. That can be too much for some. Or to speak of hundreds, thousands. How much you can process that without having your own function as a guru compromised? No? That's why Rupa Goswami say one shouldn't have too many disciples as a guru. And once Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was explaining this verse, we may go a little later than usual today. And he was saying, no, the guru shouldn't have too many disciples. And one disciple asks, but Guru, you have too many disciples. I mean, not too many, but you have a lot. So how to, no? And he said, no, that's a matter of personal capacity. What's too many? No? For some people, having thousands of disciples is not too many in their capacity of dealing with that without seeing their position compromised. For other people, to have one disciple is too much. For some people, to be a disciple is too much. Yeah, let's be honest. It's okay. We are not condemning anyone. Just like you have to acknowledge your adhikar with sincerity and continue advancing from there. If you feel I cannot be a disciple yet, okay, at least be sincere about that. And that sincerity will carry you onwards, right? And as we say, it's not over-idealization cannot only happen from the disciple toward the guru, but also the guru can be over-idealizing the disciple in terms of expectation of surrender, how much the person should give to myself. And so it can create a vicious circle of mutual over-idealization, each one in its own way. A mutual over-idealization, remember, is mutual dehumanization. So after sometimes the two of them have dehumanized each other, what the exact opposite should have happened. Follow my point? So treat and what to speak if sometimes, not always, but sometimes we can see that we have some unresolved issues from the past, and you end up being a guru, but you have some narcissistic patterns there, or you acquire them after being a guru, or sometimes you carry them. That can happen. And if you're a narcissist, and imagine and you get some disciples who are codependent, and you put that together, that's it. No? Narcissistic leader, codependent disciple, quote unquote perfect fit. or disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the codependent model. You have a narcissistic one, a codependent one. That's it. No? And for you, a guru is more like a rock star or celebrity consciousness. Like I'm with someone who is very big and very famous, and not for the right reasons. Again, no? So as we say, the disciple may come with those childish expectation or even unmet needs, but the guru should be someone with certain level of maturity to detect those things coming from the student and know how to deal with the disciples' initial codependency and guide the disciples into non-codependency instead of fostering that particular template. Also, I will say, and again, I'm trying to be balanced in terms of, okay, there can be pitfalls in the guru, but also disciple has responsibilities. What Teres was saying, sometimes as disciples, we surrender fully as a way of not taking responsibility. Sometimes we over-idealize the guru and make him, her perfect in every way as a way of us not having to give ourselves unconditionally. Because unconditional love means I love you despite your faults, which basically include the possibility that you have faults. But if I make you perfect, that basically means I'm not willing to give unconditional love. I only give conditional love. The condition being, if you are perfect, I love you. You follow? So in the form of external praise, Jai Gurudev, you are perfect, absolute, no mistake, ever evolving, need to see that, whatever. You're actually escaping from the possibility of loving someone despite mistakes, despite brokenness, despite unresolved issues. And real love must be unconditional. If I tell you I only love you if you are perfect, that's not too loving. No? Or that invites me to fake perfection so you love me. And you can be a leader doing that also. You can be a leader faking perfection so people likes you and loves you and supports you. And you have your own personal unresolved issues in which you are not accepting yourself for who you are. So you need to play Superman for the audience. So and again, many times for disciples also, this over-idealization takes the form of too much emphasis on worshiping the guru instead of following the guru. You follow the difference? Get the point? Like in Christianity, as you were quoting before, in Christianity, there's a Richard Rohr will say many times, most of us Christians worship Christ, but Christ never say worship me. He say follow me. But nobody wants to do that. It's way easier to worship someone. Let's just put them in an altar, maybe put extra aura, do the puja, big garland, whatever. And that's it. You make the external show. You don't have to follow the person. Ooh, that's a journey. Just worship. Make a show. Everyone will be like, So sometimes we can do the same as disciples. The guru may be super bona fide, everything perfect, but the mission of the student is to follow, not to, and that's the real worship, if you will. I mean, I'm not saying you cannot do guru puja, but if your guru puja is an escape from you following the example of your teacher, that's not guru puja. So that's something important, because when we worship the guru, we are worshiping how the degree to which the guru is representing God in my life and how I'm committing to that revelation myself. If I just worship the guru separate from the example that he's giving me or she's giving me that I should embody, if I just worship the person, it becomes a personality cult, basically, instead of genuine following. So, one more thing before concluding. In connection to the possibility where the guru may be doing may not behaving ideally. Of course, there are different degrees of that. As we said, a guru can be very, very well situated and commit mild mistakes. As we were saying the other day, a guru can forget a verse in a class, and you don't need to say he's testing us. He actually cannot forget the verse. he wants to see if we passed the faith test or not. Oh, he forgot the verse. That's fine. He's still the same person. He still holds the same space in my heart. No, it's not like, again, if not, it's like, I love you until and unless you never forget your verses. The moment you miss the syllable, my loving you is compromised. Like, that's so superficial. No? So, but if there is some other faults that are not as mild and maybe potentially compromising the position of the guru also should be willing to acknowledge that humbly. Even but Krishna Bhajanamrita, this book by Narahari Sarkar, the author, he says, if the disciple says that the guru is somehow deviating from the path, the disciple should approach the guru and ask and tell him, Gurudev or her, this is not correct. This is not what you have taught me. Please go back to the right path. Please. In service, I'm telling you all this because I love you. There's a place for that. And if the guru is willing to acknowledge that, to hold himself, herself accountable, even publicly, that's such a huge teaching for the rest of the society. To have an elder that acknowledges his, her mistakes. That's like, wow, thank you for giving me a reference point to know how I'm supposed to behave when I'm an elder. Because if I see no elders begging forgiveness, holding himself accountable for anything, because they're all perfect and need to see that, so they don't have to apologize for anything. It's like very superficial, very artificial. And in fact, something very interesting, I remember talking with Radhamada, a friend of mine, about this. He will tell me, some of you know Radhamada, and we were talking about our whole Gaudiya Sampradaya is based in one way, revolves around the Srimad Bhagavatam. And what's the Srimad Bhagavatam? That's Vyasadev's result of after acknowledging his shortcomings in composing the scriptures. So Vyasadeva is a guru, publicly acknowledging his shortcomings. The result of that is the Bhagavatam. The result of that is the Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we are all here because of the mature correction of imperfection from an elder, right? And that's in the Bhagavatam, as we know. Narad Muni comes and he's telling Vyasadeva, this is not correct, and he's acknowledging that, and it's the Bhagavatam come through him, and he's including his own testimony in that. So that's our tradition. That's the tone, sets the tone for what Gaudiya Sampradaya should be about.
Could I just ask a question? Because I was listening to a class on the way down in the car as well. I was talking about Vyasadeva. So we've been saying it's too easy to pass it off as a Leela in our context. Yet in some ways, let's use Vyasadeva as the example. Did he really make a mistake and he was therefore corrected, or was it just a Leela? So you see, it kind of like that idea of calling it a Leela starts somewhere, because we're given that template, in something like that.
When it stops being a Leela.
Yeah, but equally, like I was thinking about it when I was coming down the car listening to it. So we've often been presented that Vyasadeva, I think even somewhere, I don't know if it even says like he it's like Krishna directly writing it through him. So like, why then did he explain so many things that weren't that useful? And why? And then why did he need to be corrected? Like, it just seems much more likely that he's some guy who who tried to explain a bunch of stuff, and then Narada Muni kind of guided him, and he elaborated on it. Rather than, we're often sort of taught that it's this pure thing coming straight down, and then it's kind of explained away as a Leela, as a way of explaining that it kind of just grew up from the ground up. So
what does your gut tell you in reply to your own question?
My gut tell my true gut, if I don't get all the other voices coming in.
Yeah, that's the gut I'm looking. The oh my gut, my gut
is that he was writing to the best of his ability about stuff that he understood, and Narada Muni, who was his teacher, taught him, guided him in a different way, and he wrote something more to the best of his ability.
Yeah, I will align with that. And of course, I use the word imperfection, but I will, if we are nuance the whole thing, I will say, as you say, Vyasa made a very interesting contribution to the best of his ability at that time. And that can be inspired by God himself. We are not saying he was an ordinary guy or something like that. Of course not. He's an empowered personality. But again, the nature of revelation is ever evolving. So even no matter what you write, you can always do something more. And of course, it all begins with Vyasadev's whole feeling of like unfulfillment. Not like what I did is not enough, from a healthy place. So it's his sincere recognition of I've fallen short of all that could be shared. How much we can call that an imperfection? Again, I wouldn't call it, although we use the word. So it's more his sincere acknowledgement of there's something else that can be said. But again, it shows this possibility of progression and growth. And there's kind of not just like he said it all is perfect. You cannot say anything else. If you suggest that, that's terrible or something. And Narad Muni, I will say he comes because sometimes they want to say Narad Muni chastises Vyasadeva, like if he did really something really bad. I know the other things that Vyasa wrote are useful and applicable for other people. It doesn't mean that let's burn those 3 other Vedas or whatever, these sections. And Narad Muni acknowledges that in a loving way. He accompanies his disciples' feeling of, I think I hope I could have said something else, because that began with Vyasadeva feeling that. So Narad Muni, as we were doing the exercise before, it's like, okay, what do you feel? Why you feel? Why you think this is going on? Bhagavatam. No? But somehow or other, there is a sincere acknowledgement from the part of the guru of a personal feeling of falling short of something, and being vulnerable and open about that, which I think is the main point we're trying to make here, that sometimes that's not kind of allowed for a guru. No, many times, not always. No, that's not supposed to happen, because if that happens, faith will be shattered. But on the contrary, I will argue faith will be nourished. No? If I hear what to speak if a guru makes real more grave mistakes, because again, Vyasadevs, we cannot call that literally a mistake. So how much more there is place for valid holding oneself accountable, responsible in a humbling way. Again, I will say, as I mentioned in the book, if both guru and disciple are sincere, it doesn't matter who corrects whom. There's even place for that. Sometimes the guru will correct the disciple. Sometimes the disciple can correct the teacher. Not again. We think no. That's not possible. But in a certain situation, again, there are different types of corrections. Again, if your guru is reciting bad, wrongly verse, you can correct that. It's not that you think I'm better than that person, but this is technically a correction. What if a guru is doing something wrong? I mean, I don't want to go into details of unauthorized biography of Swami Padmanabha, but I had to do that with my first guru. I had to talk to him and say, Gurudev, this is wrong. This is deviation. This is abuse. And that's the last thing I thought I would have been doing in my life. I mean, but it came a situation where there was place for that, and it was me and 2 other sannyasi god brothers at the time confronting our guru with that. No, but we were very clear, fortunately, about we are doing this in service to you. No, we are not here challenging you and wanting to take over and become successor. Who knows what? No, but in service. As much as we never thought that this will happen, is happening. Okay, how to engage, how to remain a servant according to what's happening, how to keep the spirit of service in this most awkward situation we have ever been. So as long as that's the concern, anything and everything can be said from guru to disciple, from disciple to guru. And of course, we know that if a guru unfortunately doesn't want to hear that, doesn't want to change, is not open for accountability, is giving advice that is not correct, sometimes the scripture itself will say you may need to take a distance, unfortunately. Like the other day we were talking about in Bhaman Dwadasi about Bali Maharaj, when Sukracharya is telling him, don't give charity to Bhaman Dev, no? Don't surrender to Vishnu. And he said, that's not correct. I won't follow that. No? So he somehow took it distant, and his guru Sukracharya cursed him, left him, and this will happen to you. Blah, blah, blah. And Bali Maharaj said, okay, but nothing is as a curse as if I will betray myself and I go against my ideals and he's considered Mahajan in the Bhagavatam, one of the 12 persons, not by rejecting his guru, but by sticking to the truth, which took the form of having to reject his guru as a byproduct in some cases. And of course, that's a whole conversation. We are not going there today. Like, okay, if you reject your guru, if you're rejected, I talked a little bit here. But I will say in brief, if you have been, for whatever reason, distance from the human guru representative, don't forget guru is bigger than just, it's not limited to human guru representative. As I mentioned in the book, from the moment you accept, from the moment anyone accepts God as the ultimate truth and you are sincerely seeking the divine, God takes the role of guru within your life. Again, he's the original guru. No? So Krishna will take the role of guru within the person's heart and will inspire that person as he considers accordingly. No? So there's no need to feel that you have been like kind of deprived of guru or deprived of guru tattva. Let me share a quote from Prabhupada. A few more minutes and I'm there. Sorry for the extension. The topic deserves that. No rush. We can have lunch a little later, no problem. Srila Prabhupada says, no? It's a commentary to the Bhagavatam. Another fasten your seatbelt commentary. Sometimes it is argued that people do not know who is a spiritual master and that finding a spiritual master from whom to get enlightenment is in regard to the destination of life is very difficult. True. To answer all these questions, King Satyabrat, he's commenting in that section, shows us the way to accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the real spiritual master. The Supreme Lord has given full directions in Bhagavad Gita about how to deal with everything in this material world and how to return home. Therefore, one should not be misled by so-called gurus who are rascals and fools. Rather, one should directly see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the guru or instructor. Of course, I'm not promoting with this, just no need for people, you just go there, but in certain unique circumstances, or in every circumstance, even if you have your connection with your human Diksha Guru in place, that doesn't mean that, sorry? Guru. That's one of the 24 gurus in the Bhagavatam, Spider. I've been tested, you are putting me to test, okay? So if we are sincere, again, the inner guru will not allow anyone to get lost in the path. And the sincere seeker will not allow anything to stop their progress toward the goal. So if you're sincere, no matter in which situation you are, your progress goes unchecked. And Krishna will facilitate as much as possible that. No? So just to end up on a note of hope, if someone may be in a complex scenario, some of us may have been, but yeah, grace is still flowing in every, and Guru Tattva, as we said, is available in every atom in principle. So Guru expressed in so many ways: Purvacharyas, Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru, Chaitya Guru, Shastra, friends, family, brothers, sisters, spiders. So anyhow, a few thoughts we want to share today. And let's conclude with one more exercise, but not to do now, but to do later during the day. Yeah. I know you're hungry. So that will be connected to this second part where we have been mostly talking about over-idealization. So we will try to explore that a little bit by journaling, so they will be writing. But again, you can do it throughout the day before the evening meeting. So try to write like a private reflection on ways you may have placed like unrealistic expectations on your spiritual masters. Where is one particular person, different persons playing that role in your life? Try to write some private reflection of ways you may have placed unrealistic expectations, again, over expectations, and also consider how these unrealistic expectations might be reflecting some unresolved issues on your own.
Can this be imagination or a reality?
Reality.
Well, I can't do homework then.
It's your birthday, you are spoiled. No problem. We allow you.
Oh, my birthday was just a few weeks ago.
Sorry. Next year we organize a retreat during your birthday. Yeah. So first write the private. Okay, no problem. Write a private reflection on ways you may have placed unrealistic expectations on your guru or gurus, and then consider how those expectations might reflect some of your own unresolved issues. You get my. Let me conclude one second. But I own unresolved issue means something that you have not resolved, and then you need the other person to be more because of your own less, so to say, for your own unresolved thing. No? Instead of, rather than a healthy spiritual ideal that took you to that appreciation is something unresolved yet. And then to conclude, in order to heal the pattern, so to say, try to create a list of realistic qualities that at the present stage you are in now that represent like both spiritual and human integrity in a guru. What after the first part, the dysfunctional part, make a list of qualities of what it will constitute a healthy, human, realistic, sustainable example of that. That's the first part of the exercise. And the second will be sharing, as we have been doing this day, sharing in groups. Now we will make them into groups of 3. Let's change from 2 to 3 now. Reflecting like which qualities, reflecting on the extent and which qualities you seek in a mentor, you feel that are healthy in a mentor, and also how you can cultivate those qualities yourself, because you are, as we say, we are all somehow or other mentors for someone else, examples, elders. So not only I want all this in someone, but not demanding what we should also be cultivating. No?
Oh, that's easy.
So that will be the second part of the. That should be the second part of the exercise, right? After you do the writing, the journaling.
Yeah.
Is it clear, or someone needs clarification?
Are you speaking about the over-idealizing the gurus? Are you specifying which kind of guru?
No need to do that. Any role authority figure. Let's keep it that way. Yeah, because many times we just transfer one thing to another. So what we are projecting onto a guru was something that we're already projecting to our mom, dad, or teacher, or who knows what. So is the exercise clear? Yeah. So you can do it at whatever time you want later, and I'll be making the group. Yeah, those are the groups. We'll conclude here. If there are questions, maybe we can continue talking later today, later tomorrow. Although today in the evening we won't have officially Q&A. We'll have more circle work like we did 2 days ago. But still we have tomorrow's Tagosti as well, so it doesn't become too long. And tomorrow morning our next topic will be the next chapter of the book, which is Divine Ignorance. Knowing through darkness, doubt, and paradox. Don't get scared about that one. It's a good one. Entering liminal space, altogether embracing the unknown. As the Guru gives knowledge, certainty, and clarity, Guru also has to know when to teach to coexist with the unknown and reply to questions by giving more questions. Something like that. So that's it for today. Thank you so much to all of you. Sri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanand Hari Vancha Kalpataru Vyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Hari